Little Snow White by Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. Rewritten by Mary Cowley Takaoka. There was a beautiful young girl named Snow White. Her hair was black as coal, her lips were red as snow, and her skin was white as snow. She grew up without her mother, who passed when she was very young. Later, the king took himself another wife. She was a beautiful woman, but she was proud and arrogant. She could not stand it if anyone might surpass her in beauty. She had a magic mirror. Every morning she stood before it, looked at herself, and asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" To this the mirror answered, "You, my queen, are fairest of all." Then she was satisfied, for she knew that the mirror spoke the truth. Snow White grew up and became ever more beautiful. She was as beautiful as the light of day, even more beautiful than the queen herself. One day when the queen asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" it answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you." The queen took fright and turned yellow and green with envy. From that hour on, whenever she looked at Snow White, her heart turned over inside. So great was her hatred for the girl. The envy and pride grew ever greater, like a weed in her heart, until she had no peace day and night. Then she summoned a huntsman and said to him, "Take Snow White out into the woods. I never want to see her again." The huntsman obeyed and took Snow White into the woods. He did not want to kill her, so he told her to run into the wild woods and never come back to the castle because of the queen's hostility. Because she was so beautiful, the huntsman took pity on her and he said, "Run away, you poor child." Still, it was as if a stone had fallen from his heart. Then she began to run. She ran over sharp stones and through thorns. She ran as far as her feet could carry her. The poor child was so all alone in the great forest that she was so afraid that she just stopped running, looking at all the leaves on the trees, and did not know what to do. She looked up and saw a little cottage. Inside the cottage, everything was small, but so neat and clean that no one could say otherwise. There was a little table with a checkered tablecloth and little plates. Against the wall, there were little beds all standing in a row and covered with snow white sheets. Because she was so hungry and thirsty, Snow White ate a few vegetables and a little bread from each little plate, and from each mug she drank a drop of wine. Afterwards, because she was so tired, she lay down on a bed, but none of them felt right. One was too long, the other too short, until finally the 7th one was just right. She remained lying in it, entrusting herself to God, and fell asleep. After dark, the owners of the house returned home. They were the 7 Chibi-Anime, who along with God Almighty used their superpowers to fight off wickedness. They lit their 7 candles, and as soon as it was light in their house, they saw that someone had been there, for not everything was in the same order as they had left it. They were wondering who had been in their little cottage. Then the first one saw that there was a little imprint in his bed and said, "Who stepped on my bed?" The others came running up and shouted, "Someone has been lying in mine as well." But the seventh one, looking at his bed, found Snow White lying there asleep. The 7 Chibi-Anime all came running up, and they cried out with amazement. They fetched their 7 candles and shone the light on Snow White. "Oh, good heavens! Oh, good heavens!" they cried. "This child is so beautiful." They were so happy that they did not wake her up, but let her continue to sleep there in the bed. The next morning, Snow White woke up, and when she saw the 7 Chibi-Anime, she was frightened, but they were friendly and asked, "What is your name?" She blinked once, twice, and realized they were the 7 Chibi-Anime. She could easily wear them as a necklace around her neck. "My name is Snow White," she answered. "How did you find your way to our hidden dwelling?" the Chibi-Anime asked further. Then she told them that her stepmother had tried to slay her, but that the huntsman had spared her life and that she had run the entire day, finally coming to their cottage. The Chibi-Anime said, "If you can stay with us, and you shall have everything you want." "Yes," said Snow White, "with all of my heart." So she stayed and even kept house for them. Every morning the Chibi-Anime did superhero work outside. And in the evening when they came back home, their dinner was ready. During the day, Snow White was alone. The good Chibi-Anime warned her, saying, "Be careful about your stepmother. She will soon know that you are here. Do not let anyone in." Now the queen, believing that she had slayed Snow White, could only think that she was again the most beautiful woman of all. She stepped before her mirror again and asked, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" It answered, "You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White beyond the mountains with the 7 Chibi-Anime is still 1,000 times fairer than you." This startled the queen, for she knew that the mirror did not lie, and she realized that the huntsman had deceived her and that Snow White was still alive. Then she thought and thought again how she could get rid of Snow White, for as long as she was the most beautiful woman in the entire land, her envy would not give her any rest. Then she went into her most secret room, and she made a poisoned apple. From the outside, the apple looked beautiful, with red cheeks, and anyone who saw it would want it. But anyone who might eat a little piece of it would be slayed. At last, she thought, coloring her face, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman so that no one could recognize her. In this disguise, she went to the house of the 7 Chibi-Anime. Knocking on the door, she called out, "Beautiful apples for sale! Beautiful apples for sale!" Snow White peered out the window and said, "Good day, dear woman. What do you have for sale?" "Good apples, beautiful apples," she answered. "Beautiful apples in all colors." And she took one out, one of the colorful apples. "Would you like this one?" Snow White stuck her head out the window and said, "I'm not allowed to let anyone in." "That is all right with me," answered the peasant woman. "I'll easily sell all of my apples. Here, I'll give you one of them." "I can let that honest woman in," thought Snow White, then unbolted the door. Snow White longed for the beautiful apple, and she could no longer resist, and she stuck her hand out and took the poisoned apple. She barely had a bite in her mouth when she fell to the ground, completely passed out. "You specimen of beauty," said the wicked woman. "Now you are finished." And the witch ran away. The queen screeched loudly and said, "White as snow, red as rose, black as ebony wood. This time I win." Then her envious heart was at rest, as well as an envious heart can be at rest. When the Chibi-Anime came home that evening, they found Snow White lying on the ground. She was not breathing at all. They laid her in a bier. Then all 7 went after the queen. They chased her until she ran into a tree, which pushed up her nose, and it looked completely frightful. She could never interrogate the mirror ever again over whom was the loveliest of all. They returned back to Snow White. They had a transparent glass made so she could be seen from all sides. She looked so young, so beautiful. They laid her inside and with golden letters wrote on it her name and that she was a princess. Then they put her outside on a mountain, and one of them always stayed with her and watched over her. The animals too came and mourned for Snow White. Snow White lay there looking like she was asleep, for she was still as white as snow and as red as rose and as black-haired as ebony wood. Now it came to pass that a prince entered these woods and happened unto Chibi-Anime's cottage, where he sought shelter for the night. He saw the glass case on the mountain with beautiful Snow White in it, and he read what was written on it with golden letters. "My most cherished one," he said. At this, thus he spoke. The good Chibi-Anime felt sorry for him. The prince bent over Snow White's shoulders to kiss her. And doing this, he dislodged from Snow White's throat the piece of poisoned apple that she had bitten off. Not long afterwards, she opened her eyes, lifted the lid from her coffin, sat up, and was alive again. "Good heavens, where am I?" she cried out. The prince said joyfully, "You are with me. Would you like to become my wife?" Snow White suddenly fell in love with him, and she went with him to his castle. Their wedding was planned with great splendor and majesty. And they lived happily ever after. The end.